Hello friends. I'm your host Sara, and today's story is not just a story, something that happened, something that still echoes inside me. So before you skip, let me say this. Stay till the end, because some silences speak louder than screams. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, because the stories we tell stay with you forever. I spent 2 years volunteering inside a maximum security prison. It wasn't easy, but I was drawn to the silence of those gray walls, to the eyes that no longer asked for freedom, only for meaning. Every week I'd enter the interview block. I spoke to murderers, thieves, forgotten men. But there was one man, cell 14. His name was Michael Grant, serving life without parole. And in 10 years, not one word to anyone, not to the guards, not to the chaplain, not even to himself. People said he was broken, some said he was mad. But when I passed his cell, he always looked straight at me, like he knew something no one else did. One day, something changed. I was wrapping up my day when I passed cell 14. The hallway was empty, quiet like always. But then, voice, "You come here every Thursday," froze. It wasn't loud. It wasn't angry. It was clear. Turned. Michael Grant was sitting, arms crossed, staring at the wall. I didn't respond. I just stood there. He said it again. "You always walk past me. You never ask me anything." I stepped closer. "I didn't think you wanted to talk," I said quietly. He turned his head slightly, just enough to meet my eyes. I didn't, until today. He asked if I could stay a few minutes. I sat on the floor just outside his cell, back to the bars. He didn't come near. He didn't pace. He just sat on the edge of his bed and spoke, like he had been waiting for someone to listen. "I had a wife. Her name was Lena. We met in a coffee shop. She didn't even like coffee, but she sat with me, just once. And that was enough." His voice didn't tremble, but his silence between sentences, it said everything. "We had a son, Daniel. He was 10 when everything went to hell." That's all he said that day. He stood up, turned away, and went quiet again. But I knew, this man wasn't a killer. This man was carrying something else entirely. Something buried so deep, it had taken 10 years to rise. That was the beginning. The moment when silence finally spoke. In the next part, I'll tell you what Michael revealed. About love, about loss. And the night that changed everything. Because sometimes, the truth isn't buried in evidence. It's buried in sacrifice. He didn't speak again for a week. I walked past cell 14 every Thursday just like always. He looked at me but said nothing. Then the next Thursday when I paused by his door, he was already sitting, waiting. No greeting. Just words like a movie already halfway through. It was late, maybe 2 a.m. Lena had been feeling sick for days. We thought it was the flu. But that night she fell. Right there in the hallway. I sat quietly outside his cell. Even the guards didn't interrupt us anymore. Daniel came running. He was crying, yelling. I picked her up, she was burning up. I drove like a madman to the ER. And the doctors told me. He swallowed hard. We were too late. Some kind of infection in the blood. They said it spread too fast. She didn't make it. He stopped. His hands gripped the edge of his bed like he was holding on to the past itself. Daniel screamed. He blamed the world. He blamed me. He was only 10. But his eyes weren't a child's anymore. Michael sat still, but you could feel it. He was walking through fire inside. He started changing. First he stopped going to school. Then he started lying, breaking things. There was a rage in him that scared even me. I listened without breathing. His voice wasn't just telling a story. It was digging through pain. One night, a neighbor's car window was smashed. Then someone's dog went missing. Then the fire. He looked down. The Wilsons, sweet couple, lived 2 doors down. Their garage burned down. Daniel never said a word. But I knew. He didn't say how, but a father always knows. I didn't tell the police. I thought I could help him. Maybe he just needed more time. Maybe we both did. Then he paused. When he looked up again, his eyes weren't red. They were empty. But then, something happened that I couldn't protect him from. I didn't ask. I just let him speak when he was ready. A man was found dead in the park. His skull crushed. No witnesses. No weapon. But they found a jacket, Daniel's. Now my breath caught. He came home that night, covered in dirt. His hands were shaking. He didn't say anything, but he looked at me. Like he was begging me to fix it. Michael leaned forward. They came the next morning. Weren't. They were about to cuff him. He just stood there, frozen. Michael closed his eyes. So I did the only thing I could think of. I said it was me. He didn't look proud. He didn't look brave. He looked like a man who had handed over his life for a chance to save what was left of his son. He said the words so softly, I almost didn't hear them. I told them it was me. The room was quiet. Even the echo in the hallway felt like it held its breath. I described how I killed the man. I gave them just enough to believe it. I knew they'd never find the real weapon. I made it simple for them. He leaned back, looking at the ceiling as if watching some invisible memory play. They didn't even question it. I guess they were just happy to close a case. I could barely believe it. He had confessed to murder, just to protect his son. He watched from the stairs, Michael said. Daniel didn't cry, didn't speak. He just stared at me as they took me away. I asked softly, "Did he ever write to you?" Michael's head moved side to side. Not no. Not yes. Just something in between. He disappeared. Social services took him. After that, nothing. He paused, his jaw tightening. You know what it's like to sit in a 6x9 cell and replay one decision every single night for 10 years. To wonder if you saved him or ruined him completely. His voice didn't shake, but his fingers curled slowly, tightly, like trying to hold back time. Sometimes I think, maybe I should have let them take him. Maybe prison would have changed him less than I did. He exhaled, the kind of breath that sounded like a lifetime leaving his chest. But he was all I had left of her. And if I had to lose my freedom to keep a piece of her safe, I would do it again. No dramatic words, no performance, just raw, painful truth. After they locked me up, he said, I decided I wouldn't speak again. Not to anyone. Not until I knew whether what I did was worth it. He looked directly at me then. 10 years. Not a sound. Not a word. Until you came. The silence between us. It wasn't awkward. It was sacred. You said something last month, he continued. You were talking to that young guy in cell 7. And you said, no one is ever just one thing. I nodded slowly. I did say that. That made me think. Maybe I'm not just the man who confessed. Maybe I'm still a father. He looked down at his hands. Hands that had built a life. And buried it. Sometimes, he whispered, I dream that Daniel's okay. That he got adopted. That he forgot about all this. That he's happy. He didn't cry. But there was a kind of collapse in his voice. Like something inside him had fallen in slow motion. And sometimes, he said, I dream he's angry. That he thinks I abandoned him. That he hates me. He looked up again. Maybe that's the real prison. Not the bars. But not knowing. There was nothing I could say. 'Cause he was right. Michael didn't speak again for 2 weeks after that. But when he did, it wasn't to continue the story. It was a question. If someone sacrifices everything, but no one ever knows they did it even matter? I didn't answer right away. How could I? He waited a moment, then continued. I think sometimes I just needed someone to see me. Not as a number. Not as a case. Not even as a prisoner. Just as a man who tried. He stood up for the first time during any of our talks. He walked slowly toward the cell bars, stopped just short of them. You know what I remember most about her? Her humming. She used to hum when she cooked, when she cleaned, when she brushed Daniel's hair, even when she was tired. His eyes softened like they were staring back through time. After she died, the silence in the house wasn't just quiet. It was cruel. Daniel would leave the TV on just to fill the air. And sometimes I'd hum, hoping he'd feel her there. He looked down. But he never looked at me the same. Then he told me something I wasn't expecting. There was a letter. Daniel wrote it a year after I got locked up. A guard handed it to me once. I leaned in. I didn't open it. My eyes widened. I couldn't. I was afraid. What if he hated me? What if he didn't hate me, and I couldn't live with the guilt? He reached into a tiny crack in the wall, a space most guards wouldn't even notice. He pulled out a small yellowed envelope, unopened, edges worn, still sealed. I've kept it here for 9 years. He handed it to me through the bars. I held it like glass. I want you to read it. I hesitated. Please, he whispered. So I opened it. My hands trembled. Inside were 6 words, written in small, uneven letters. I know. I still love you. That was it. No explanations. No blame. Just forgiveness. I looked up. Michael was sitting again, head bowed, silent. I didn't say a word. Neither did he. Because sometimes silence is the loudest response of all. Later that month, I transferred out of the prison program. Too many stories like his. They stay with you. But his stayed the longest. And something about that letter, those 6 words, they changed me. I started a project. Real stories from forgotten places. People who were never seen, never heard. And I shared Michael's story, anonymously, with the world. I didn't think it would go far. But one day I got a message. Short, simple email. My name is Daniel Grant. I think that story was about my father. I haven't seen him since I was 10. I want to come back. It was raining the day Daniel arrived. Not the kind of rain that drowns the streets, but the quiet, gentle kind. like the sky had something to say. I stood by the prison gate as a man stepped out of a taxi. Late 20s. Dark eyes. The same ones I had seen in cell 14. He walked slowly, holding nothing but a folded paper in his hand. A printout of the story I had published. He didn't say much, just looked at me and nodded. "He's really here?" he asked. I nodded back. We passed the security checks, down long hallways, through locked doors, until we reached the interview block. Cell 14. Michael wasn't sitting. He was standing, as if some part of him had felt this moment coming. He turned as the door opened. His eyes met his son's, and the air stopped moving. For a moment no one spoke. Then Daniel stepped forward. He didn't cry. He didn't ask questions. He just reached into his coat and pulled out something small. Piece of paper. "I wrote you another letter," he said. Michael's hands trembled as he took it. He unfolded it slowly, like it might vanish in his fingers. The words were short again, but different this time. "I'm still here. If you are." Michael looked up, and for the first time in over a decade, he smiled. It wasn't wide. It wasn't proud. But it was real. They sat across from each other. No bars between them now, just time. They spoke for an hour. Then another. Stories, pain, memories. Forgiveness. No one interrupted. Not the guards. Not me. Because some reunions don't need explanation. They just need space. Michael never left that prison. He's still there. Still in cell 14. But he writes now. Letters to Daniel. To other prisoners. To anyone who might need to know that silence is not the end of a story. It's just the part waiting to be heard. Sara's voice. Closing outro, gentle and deep. Sometimes we see people as shadows. Silent, still, forgotten. But behind every quiet man is a voice that once screamed. A heart that once broke. A life that once mattered. Michael Grant taught me that silence can be the most powerful truth of all. If this story touched you, share it, because someone out there might still be waiting to hear. I know. I still love you. This was Echoes of Old Rooms. And I'm your host, Sara. Until next time, keep listening. Because some stories don't fade. They just wait.